I would like to ask you, because I've heard some things that I think are, I don't think nefarious, but I think that they're incorrect and harmful when uncorrected. And I'll say things like what I've heard from, now granted, this is not from the NIST officials, right? So these are people who are, they're not MSPs either. So they're people who automatically, I don't know by reputation personally, and nor are they affiliated with the MSP community. But I'll give you an example. I heard one CMMC consultant tell me that the and this person certainly thought of themselves as a CMMC expert. I'll tell you that. They told me that their view of the CMMC community was that the MSPs were in a position where they are going to have to take the controls from their customers and do a better job, really reading between the lines and using my own language. The MSPs need to do a better job of taking the controls from their customers and making sure that those controls are faithfully met. And at that moment, I remember I pushed back and I said, other than Raytheon and Northrop and all the major, the big prime players who all have massive internal IT departments and cybersecurity tools and budgets, the vast majority of the DIB probably wouldn't be able to figure out what a control is, much less list them. So, John, your response when I tell that, is that an overstatement to say that your DIB customers at the lower levels are going to come to you fully equipped and aware of what their controls and control needs are?
No, they are not, and in fact, that's been our experience so far. That conversation with us normally starts, okay, here's this list of requirements from my client, the prime or certainly the upstream contractor, and I have no idea what to do here. I don't have policies, I don't have controls, and I probably don't have, in a lot of cases, they don't have an MSP even. They might have some in-house IT support, but I think very quickly in the DIB, you get from the primes down to very small, machine shops and manufacturers who they're making parts. They are historically not focused on things like policies and controls.
Yeah.
So that conversation usually starts with them needing some consulting and some advice on, again, the translating what they've been handed into what practically can be done and what needs to be done.
I've been talking about this a lot in the last month or so that, do MSPs raise risk or lower risk? And every time people who probably are espousing MSPs increasing risk, I ask them the challenging fundamental question. Well, if you believe that, let's remove all the MSPs from the equation. Imagine all MSPs are gone tomorrow. Did our risk suddenly plummet and become nothing? Of course not. In fact, it skyrockets because most organizations don't have their own functioning, capable internal IT department. Hence why MSPs are so critical.
Yep.
But I just this notion that you guys as MSPs are to wait patiently for all the subprime, the prime contractors, the prime defense players out there are. The theory is I look at it as a waterfall. The controls emanate down and drip down from those primes, and the supply chain going up to them, through them, to the DoD consumers is what is at issue. And I think that there's a lot of organizations that, but for their MSP relationship, assuming they have one, they'll never be able to figure out what controls they need. Well, and so I don't look. That's the way I look at it.